Welcome back to the next episode of the full aluminium off-road toy hauler build. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll put a link up here to a playlist or the first video. Go check that out. This is it behind me here. Sitting there, all finished. Canopy frame on, ready to go down to the sheet metal company to get it all skinned. But for this one, we're gonna wire up the tail lights, put on some mud flaps, which you can see is already done. So we'll flash back to that, and then we go down and get it registered. So grab a cold drink or something and let's get into it. As you can tell by the mustache, this probably dates this video a little bit. It is November now. But anyway, continuing on, so to wire up the tail lights and the brakes, I'm going to use Deutsch plug connectors, being probably the superior connector, being waterproof. Hello dogs. This doesn't help at all. And the way I'm going to wire the pins up, I'm going to follow the sequence from the trailer plug wiring, so just industry standard, and I'll do that in maybe like a clockwise order or something, just so it's easy for reference and fault finding. So yeah, need to get all these little pins crimped on and then pin it out. This dog is really not helping. So get all these pinned out, a bit of heat shrink, bit of conduit, and I've got to drill some holes up here through the chassis to run across to the other side, try and do that as neat as I can. Get it all wired up, and then might put some 12-volt power on it and test it, test the lights, maybe get the wheels off the ground, see if I can test the brakes and just trigger them just to make sure they work. And then we are very, very, very close to taking it in to get it registered. So let's get it done. I've always wanted to try this, using a ring spanner to rip along and put cable inside this split conduit. I'm trying a 7mm spanner, probably not the right size, it's 7mm cable, but you need to get it inside the conduit. Yeah. It helps, it's not perfect. It's probably easier with bigger conduit and bigger cable. It's definitely easier than pushing it with your fingers, but I'm probably not doing it right. If you know the trick to this, let me know in the comments. Like, how big has the spanner got to be compared to the cable? Does it have to be as close as it can be, or a couple of mil bigger? You can get a little bit of a flow going until it pops out sometimes. That's the lighting all wired up, bit of cable routing with some P-clamps. Good to go, LED tail lights, reflectors, number plate light. Even got some nut certs and some little cap screws in there ready for the number plate. Next job is to sort out the mud flap situation. So been to Supercheap, bought 4 sets of these, so 8 flaps, 280 by 350. Thinking of making some sort of like rock tamer setup under the back. Got this fairly solid piece of aluminium angle. I think I'm going to cut it to be about 1800 wide, and then I think tack weld it up under the back there so I can just hang all the flaps along there. Might have to have a tiny gap in the middle, just a bit of an air gap, just to get the spacing of the mud flaps right, so I don't need to go cutting them in half. I'll just put a little gap in the middle and space them on the outsides. Pretty much I just want enough clearance so it covers the edge of the tyre here. Hopefully it gets through Queensland Transport like that. Pretty surprised you still need a mud flap actually, being that there's so much overhang at the back. Like, the chance of a rock spraying out pretty limited, but I guess legally you still need it. So let's lop off a piece of that at 1800. Go along and drill all the holes, I think, for the mud flaps maybe. Probably weld it in place first, then drill all the holes. Came with all the fasteners, screw them on, see how it looks. I see people all the time welding and they don't wear long sleeve shirts. I don't know how they do it. Every time I do it I get roasted, so I've got long gloves on, but let's see how we go this time. Jesus! How hard is it to get a new drill bit? That's the mud flaps all wired on. Just going to do 2 on either side at the moment. Might eventually put some in the middle later on. A little loofah rego. Kind of made it half sacrificial, just welded at the top there, but if this rips off, I'd rather it rips off than damages anything else it's connected to, so that'll do. I've also wired in the breakaway controller, so I've got the lanyard here with the little pin thing in case the trailer comes off. Got the wiring routed through here with P-clamps and conduit, and then the little battery box thing that goes up in here. Never wired one of these before, but mounted up in the center. This will probably get hidden under a toolbox that's going to go across here. To make it easy with the amount of cables I had to run, I put this little junction box in here. I'm going to get some little waterproof cover that goes over the top. It makes it pretty easy to connect and fault find and that sort of stuff. Also, if I need to replace a trailer plug, that's like a little sacrificial bit, so it just runs from there up to here. So if I ever need to replace it, I just got to replace that bit. Don't need to cut into the rest of it. Hopefully the terminal block here makes it easy to fault find. There's so many wires I had to hook on by the time you do the trailer plug, the feed that goes down the back, this battery box, the breakaway pull pin thing. It all has wires that go with it. So it worked out pretty well. And then if I ever damage the trailer plug cable, I can just replace that section. Wire on a new one, don't need to splice it into the main 7-core one that goes down the back. Also had to wire in clearance lights around the trailer as well. So once I checked the ADR design regulations, because of the width of it being 2 meters and the length of it, I needed white ones and white reflectors at the front. Then I needed clearance markers, orange forward, red backwards, and orange markers at the front, reflectors in the middle, and then same again at the back. And you need extra reflectors as well as the tail lights plus number plate lights. So it's a fair bit of wiring once I had to work my way around and splice all of those in, but that's all done now. Final touches done on the toy hauler after 12 months of building it. It's time for the moment of truth. Down to Queensland Transport. Let's see if I can get this thing registered. Very, very nervous.
One eternity later.
So it's been about 2 weeks since I first came to Queensland Transport. I didn't realise you have to do it in 2 parts. You go in, get a VIN number, and then go back, put that plate on the trailer, and then bring the trailer in for the measure up. So got all my other paperwork, and I'm back again for the measure up. Fingers crossed it goes alright. Let's do it. Great success. Measure up went fine, got myself a number plate. There wasn't too much to it actually. She just measured it all up, measured the center of the axles, overhang, checked the VIN number was stamped into the drawbar. That was about it. They don't test lights, brakes, anything, so pretty easy. Probably stressed myself out more than I needed to with that. Let's throw this on. So the reason I got this registered as a flat deck is because I need to put the canopy frame, which you can see on the front of the toy hauler just there. I've got to put that on the toy hauler so I can haul it down to the sheet metal company. Not too sure who I'm going to use yet, but I'm going to get it all skinned and the doors folded up and everything professionally so it doesn't look like a dodgy home job. I just don't have a bender big enough to fold doors and things like that, and I don't really know what I'm doing with it, so I'm just going to pay to get that done. Probably just the minimal bit, just get it all folded, maybe tacked, and then I'll bring it home and then weld it all out and then start the canopy fit out, which I'm super keen for. So that's going to probably be a couple of weeks away because they're all closed over Christmas, so probably first week of January I'll go see those guys and get it in as soon as I can, so stick around for that. Heaps more to come, getting to all the fun part, fitting out the canopy, rooftop tent I've still got to pick yet, making it take a side-by-side on the back, all that sort of stuff, so heaps to go. If you've got any questions, hit me up in the comments or over on Instagram. And if you like this sort of stuff, think about subscribing. It's free, helps me out. I've got another couple of little episodes, little projects I'm going to fill in the next couple of weeks until we take the canopy in, so stay tuned for that. Other than that, see you in the next one. To wire up at the... Let's lop off a piece of that. Wasn't really not too sure who I'm going to eat. Not too sure who. So that's probably going to be a couple of weeks away because they're all